Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah, la'asok b'divrei Torah, la'asok b'divrei Torah, la'asok b'divrei Torah, la'asok b'divrei Torah. Okay, hello there. So come sit. So we're going to do a couple of things this evening.
Just tell me that's not a dead body. Pretty small one.
Okay, I can tell it to you. I'm not going to be honest, but here you go. All right, so we're going to get right into it with a couple of things very simply. We have services. We do not have services this weekend. Boss says we do not have services this weekend. I do what I'm told by Orlando. We do afterwards. So let's get right into it. Two things hidden in plain sight. Magen David. I don't think we've done this yet, have we? Good. Often translated as the Star of David, that is not what it means. Magen means shield. It's the shield of David. So what does it mean? Physically, it is what he wore on his shield. That's why it's on our flag, the six-pointed star. But let's take a minute and look at where that comes from and what it is. The book of Genesis says that God is blowing the nishmat chaim, the breath of life, into the human being. And then God takes the breath from us, and every moment is a moment of mouth-to-mouth resuscitation with God. That's what breathing is. You really know that if you go, have you ever gone scuba diving before? Yeah. So when you go scuba diving, you know breath is not as easy as we make it up here on the land. And it is a breath, it is a blessing. So where does it come from? And let's relate that to the nishmat, to the nishmat and the breath of life, and to the star, the shield of David. Okay. So first of all, there's something called triangular breathing. And it's also used during Shabbos. It's also part of the Shabbos. The triangle is a very powerful symbol in most cultures. The idea is that you are inhaling sometimes, exhale, and hold your breath with your lungs empty. This is a great meditative exercise. So you inhale to a count of 4, exhale to a count of 4, and hold with your lungs empty. That's the natural way of breathing. It's the way a baby breathes. Remember when your babies were babies, before when they were little, that's how they breathe, right? They went, remember that? And the first baby, you're thinking, okay, I'm scared. What's happening to my child? Right? It's also someone breathes when they're about to die. I've been around anyone who's about to die, but that's how they breathe. One of the ways that a hospice nurse knows how close someone is to death is how long the space is between their exhale and their inhale. Okay, I'm going to guess it's similar to the animals, though I don't know.
Most animals that I'm injecting something, so it's not a natural death.
So that's the natural way of breathing. Babies.
Yeah. They wouldn't mind God.
And that's how the cat.
It looks like it's going to go, and then.
Right. So it's how you exhale with our lungs empty. Generally, what happens is if you ask a human being to hold their breath, they're going to go, and that's tight. As opposed, it's not a place of faith. As opposed to empty is a place of faith that God will refill the breath. Okay. Now, there's a meditation that goes with triangular breathing, and that when you inhale, you're focusing on your nefesh, your physical aspect of your soul. When you exhale, you're focusing on your ruach, your mental emotional aspect of your soul. And when you're holding your breath with your lungs empty, you're focusing on your neshama, spiritual aspect of your soul. In fact, there's even a meditation where you do it with the verb of nafshi, ruchi, nishmati. So my soul, my soul, my soul. So okay. When we're doing 3 hands over the candles, 3 aspects of our soul. Okay, the nefesh, the ruach, and the neshama. And here's the thing to understand about it. Since we're never really breathing, God's blowing the breath of life into us. We're like a balloon. We're never really in him. God is exhaling the breath into us. Okay? We're not exhaling. God is taking the breath from us. And then when God is holding at the same time. Come with me on this?
Mhm.
When you are totally in sync, that your breath is God's breath, totally in that surrendering place of breathing, then you have God's triangle, and it's overlaying your triangle, which creates
The
Magen
shield.
David. The idea being that David was a singer, and so he understood that the shield, that breath is the key to understanding how God is our shield. Okay? Just a little piece of fun. Now you can use it for a good cocktail. What I want to spend more time on is, when was the last time any of you were in front of an open Torah for more than 5 minutes of a high holiday aliyah?
A couple years.
Couple years?
We did it at Simchas Torah.
But when did you just spend time with it yourself? It's been a while?
Probably about 5 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at the Torah. First of all, right now, if you can go down on it, Orlando, please. The Torah is in an ark. An ark does not need to be a wooden or metal container or glass container. An ark needs to be a covering and container that on all sides is pure for the Torah. So we have it below it and above it. Below it and above it, we have talasim wrapped on. Okay? Why don't we come on over here? And this is a Torah. This covering was paid for by certain families or honor certain families. It says the tree of life to those who hold fast to it. The covering is called the mantle. Someone please kind of just pull that off. This is the girdle or belt. Oops. And this is the Torah. The Torah must be made of kosher animal skins. Okay, these are the trees, the branches. This is the yad. It's a hand. Yad living his hand. It's a pointer, so we don't touch the face of the Torah. It's made from. It has to be a kosher animal, typically cow or deer. Okay, and each page, if you look at it, that's a page. So this is one end of the page. This is another end of the page. Okay. The scribe, which is called a sofer, writes the page and then sews the pages together. Okay. When we say that you need to burn the Torah if the scribe makes a mistake, you don't burn the whole Torah. You burn the page that he makes a mistake on. The Torah itself is the way that the Torah is made is you can feel on the side, on the back, or you can see the lines. Maybe you can get in real close on that. You can see that the lines are right there on the back, right there and there and there. You can see these lines. Scores the Torah. And then if you look carefully, the letters are not written on top of the line. They're hanging from the Torah, from the line. So, let me just borrow that man. No, please. No, man. So, if we look at, excuse me, if he's scoring a line, here are the scored lines. Okay? He does that with like an X-Acto knife, a knife. And then he has the letters, they're hanging from the line. Okay? Just following that. So that's an olive. Where's your bet? Right? every letter hangs below the line. Some letters are above the line. Good. Okay. Only one letter is above, through, and below it, which is Lamed. To study, which is Lilmod, is to go from below, through, and above. It connects all the worlds together. On the letters, you're going to see crowns. And it's calligraphy, whatever the crown may be. Okay. The Yod as an example actually looks like this. You're going to look at the crowns. The crowns are the highest level next to the song of the Torah writing. Okay? We're going to look at this for a second now that you know that line. So let's, he scores and then he draws. Now let's say he's going to writing Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe Bamidbar Sinai. So Vaydaber Adonai, then he would write this is how he would go about writing it. Vaydaber, and he'd leave a big blank space, and then he would write El for El Moshe. Okay? He's got this blank space. So he's going to write the whole page, leaving blank spaces for God's name. Then the scribe will go take a mikvah, ritual cleansing bath. He will not speak to anyone. He will come back in and write God's name. All of God's names on the pages, not speaking to anyone, having pure kavanah, pure intention. Then he will go back to the mikvah, bathe, and then he can talk to people again. Right? That's how intense this process is. That's why scribe is actually an ordained position. So that's what we're going to look at right now. So if we look at the Torah itself now, for how many of you is this new?
That's probably.
That's good then. Something new. So I can go home now? You can. Okay.
You can go back.
All right. So if we look at a page of Torah, right? He's scored it. He's let all the letters down. You can get in real close. That all the letters are hanging from those lines, right? If you look, they're not on top of the line. Like right here. Let's go right here. It's you can see that it's Lamed above. So let's look at this one. And it's right, there's the line it's hanging from it. Right there, there's the line. Right a bear, it's hanging from it. Make sense? Okay. So he writes all of this Torah, keeping out God's name. Everywhere there's a Yud Kei Vav Kei, keeping it out of it. He's then, and you can look at the crowns. See these little crowns. Can you zoom in on that? Can you? So those little markings are crowns. You can see them all over, all the little things, all the way that they do things, all the little extra stuff. Comes back, writes all of God's name, goes and makes a mikvah, double checks it. There you go, ready for the next page. Sews it together, go to the next page. A lot of
Wait, sews it page by page, not sews it.
my understanding is he sews it page by page.
You don't know.
My understanding is he sews it page by page.
I thought the pages came scored. The software scores each page.
Scores
separately.
each page.
I had no idea.
That's interesting. I don't know how they come scored unless someone else did it for them.
Yeah, he bought the sheets.
So they may be,
I don't-
you may be right, they may do that now.
Yeah.
But traditionally, you have to score it. You don't have a machine doing it or anyone else doing it for you. So you may be right now that that's how they do it because they are perfect lines. But traditionally, you don't have a machine doing it.
Yeah, no machine.
Yeah, the scribe takes a knife and zip, 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 zip. Okay. And you can still see the scoring in between the lines, in between the columns, you can see right there.
Yeah.
Okay. He also makes a lighter line on each side vertically so he knows how far he can go. And it's pretty perfect if you really look at it. One of the things is there was a book called the Bible Code a number of years ago. The idea that in the Bible, there are all these hidden messages because this letter's on that place and this letter's on that place. And when they're diagonal, it makes a message. The problem is that whole concept is entirely ridiculous because that's based on an English printing of a Bible, and here's the Torah. It's nothing to do with it. Now this one, yes, this is called a Vav Torah. So there are two types of Torahs. One is just a Torah that is not a Vav Torah. One is a Vav Torah. A Vav Torah is, if you look at every single column, there's a Vav at the beginning of the page, of the column. The idea is Vav means and, it's a conjunction. So it is connecting. The idea is that even more so, it's always connected. Every line will be a Vav. Not every line, but every the top of every. It's called a Vav Torah.
Because Ve is and.
So what?
Because Ve is and.
That means and, the conjunction. So the idea of this style of Torah is that that this is really all one connection.
Aren't all of them supposed to be the same? I mean, like, because if I get the Tanakh right and I'm going to practice for reading the Torah, they're not all the same?
They're close enough, but they're not all. They're not all Vav Torahs. Although most people, I think now, mostly make them, but no, they're not. We have a Torah that's Vav Torah. I think the long white one is not that big, tall white one.
But even every Vav Torah is not the same.
Nothing is the same. It's not my hand. We have a Torah that, which letter is it? It's either God's name or it's a letter. I think it's a letter. We never use it. That one of the letters is wrong.
Oh.
But it's wrong everywhere it's wrong. So it's clearly not wrong. It was the scribe's intention to make the letter that way. The Sephardic Torah. I brought it to my friend Rabbi Kraft, who's an Ashkenazi rabbi, Ashkenazi scribe, who said this is not a kosher Torah. You got to replace every page because everywhere this letter is, it's wrong. I remember the letter. But it's wrong everywhere. And it's like, well, obviously it's not wrong. It was his intention. It's just not your custom.
How do you feel about female scribes?
Let's talk about that in a moment. I feel badly about them. Okay. I don't think they're appropriate, and I'll tell you why. Okay. And we'll do what's open. So the reason I don't feel good about female scribes, you're still focusing on that, right? So the reason I don't feel good about female scribes is that I don't personally care as long as she's not menstruating.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't care. However, a Torah gets passed from community to community to community. And for many communities, it's not a kosher scroll if it was made by a woman. Now, whether you agree with that or disagree with that is inconsequential.
Right.
It's reality. So I would never want to lead a community astray if 50 years after a Torah is written by a woman, saying this is a kosher Torah, as it's passed to another community, and the other community thinking that it's kosher by their standards. But it's not. Does that make sense? It'd be misleading. That's why. I don't have a problem with it, but that's the problem with it. It's not, I don't have a personal problem, but I have a problem for future generations. Does that make
Fair
sense?
enough. I mean, it was an opinion question.
Yeah, no, it's that's why I feel that way. I don't really care if it's a man or a woman, if they're taking the mikvah, they're doing anything they need to do. I could care less. However, because I recognize that it's not accepted in so many places, and I recognize that Torahs last, God willing, for many generations, I would not want that Torah. It's the same way as the Torah that was given to us, that's the Sephardic Torah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kosher in my mind. Because the scribe clearly had the intention to do it this way. This was not a mistake. This was conscious.
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize that other people will say it's not kosher. And I would rather err on the side of making everybody comfortable. And thank God we have enough Torahs. We can do that. So does that help a little bit? So this is a Torah. Now, when you take a Torah, so if you could give me a hand here, if you would put one of these on me, please. One of you could do this. And actually, no, can you do while you're filming or no?
What?
We're going to turn the Torah a little bit.
Which way?
Well, let's go this way.
What are we doing with this?
We're going to turn it.
As it rotates?
No.
Turn it over.
We're gonna be.
Oh,
He's
we're
gonna
gonna
find
roll
the
it.
place.
Yeah, we're gonna roll. Go ahead.
Okay. Hang
So let him get his
Which
on.
way we rolling? We rolling?
The other way.
Oh, you pull.
Okay. So now we're gonna pause at certain places. So you can see that these breaks are different breaks. Typically, a partial will begin at one of these breaks, not always, but typically. Let's keep going. And there are markers. If we pass one of the markers, but keep going. We'll come back.
Yeah, exactly. Fair enough. Go ahead.
Okay,
Here we are.
great.
Chapter break. Book
So
break.
right here it says Vayikra El Moshe. This is the break between the books. This is the one before it. This is Vayikra, which is the book of Leviticus. The one before it would be Exodus. Okay, and you'll see this is one of the ways you know where things are. So now, if I'm looking for the book of Leviticus, chapter 7, verse 12, I'm going to go here or whatever parsha I'm looking at. Make sense? I got an idea where the beginning is. Okay, if we can roll back towards Sandy, please. All looks very similar, doesn't it? Until, hold on. Not yet. Keep going. Remember the Sabbath. Nochi Adonai Elohecha, I am the Lord your God, Asher Hotzetecha me'eretz Mitzrayim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, Mibeit Avadim, from the house of slavery. So it starts in here and it goes down here, and then here over here you have the song and sea. So there are little markers like that throughout the Torah, so you can find it. Language looks a little bit different. Now, the parchment has different colors. It's natural animal, so it's going to have different colors. Does that mean that the Torah is not kosher? Okay, so we'll wrap it up for just a second and ask some other questions about the Torah. Girdle first.
Oh, you're putting it away.
Yeah, Sandy, can you be kind enough to, one of you guys, Karen, Sandy, somebody, please
No,
just.
I heard it died.
It doesn't
We
matter.
have the farthest person. Keep going.
Okay, please put the mantle on it. Okay.
Matt Gomez.
Is that not supposed to what?
Matt Gorman, his
Yes.
family.
Yeah, good. Way. Let's talk about her a little bit more. Okay. So first of all, that's the new information for you.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about what goes on with that. A Torah needs to be kosher. If a page is not kosher, it can be repaired, it can be replaced. Do you need to replace the whole Torah if something is not kosher on one page? No, just that page. So here's a question. How do we determine whether it's kosher or not based on the letters? Because letters get worn over time, right?
Yeah.
So over time, letters are going to be questionable. Is that a bet? Is it a dalet? Is it bet or is it a kaf? That's a really good example, right? Is it a letter that looks like this? Or is it a letter that looks like this? That's pretty close, aren't they?
Yes.
Right? So how do you know? Who's the determining person who's going to say, oh, that's okay, oh, that's not okay? do you think it should be?
Not me.
Probably the scribe.
A scribe? Wrong. What about the rabbi? Wrong. Cantor?
Sanhedrin? That's it. I have no idea.
A child.
Okay.
If the child can recognize the letter, then the letter is considered kosher. If the child cannot recognize the letter is not considered kosher.
Does the child have to be a certain age?
I think 7, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure. And it's got to be a child who can recognize the letter. And if the child can recognize it, then the letter is readable. If the child can't recognize it, doesn't matter. Because remember, the sofer or the rabbi might know that phrase is Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe b'midbar Sinai b'el hamoed. And so we don't want anyone to have that. So just a child who's just working out the letters themselves.
Kids who can't read them the whole period.
I understand.
A lot.
But they don't. But the idea is it's just looking at the random letter. So that's and then there's some obviously if they're too blown out, they can't tell. But that's the judge. So we're told we're supposed to live by the words of Torah, not die by them, which is why, as sacred as the Torah is, we do not die by it. One of the tortures the Nazis did, right? They told the rabbi, urinate on the Torah. No, kill me. If you don't urinate by the Torah, I'm going to kill a child. What does the rabbi do immediately?
Pulls out his
Yep. He shows that he is of the tribe of Joseph. He comes from that tribe of Jacob in the same world. And he does what he needs to do. So it's really, really important. We have this idea of Hagbah, which is the lifting of the Torah, which you do after the Torah reading. You are supposed to lift it so you can fully see 4 columns, one for each of the 4 worlds. Okay. Go on. What's the
I always learned it as 3.
It's 4.
I mean, I typically do 7, but I get it. It's okay.
It's just how it depends on how big your wingspan is.
Exactly.
But it's supposed to be 4.
And it depends where you are in the Torah.
It depends also how what size Torah you're using too.
Or how balanced it is,
Yeah.
right?
So, but it's supposed to be 4. And then the other thing is that when the Torah is lifted up, we're all saying that this is the Torah given by God through the mouth of God through Moses' hand. And people make a common mistake, and I'm constantly trying to correct it. We do not kiss the Torah. I mean, you can kiss the Torah, it's fine, but we're not. When the Torah goes around, we never turn our back to her because it's out of respect. You don't turn your back to a king or to a queen. And when we kiss her, we're not actually kissing her. We're taking the commandments, our tzitzit or a prayer book. We're actually not going kiss, touch. We're actually going touch, kiss, because you're bringing the words of the Torah to your mouth. This is when people who are not Jewish, especially anti-Semites, see us doing this, they will say, oh, they say that idol worship is forbidden, but they worship the Torah. We don't. We don't. It's not an idol, and we're not kissing the idol. We're bringing it to our mouth. Well, I kiss the Torah all the time, but it's just out of love. It's not out of, she walks around type of thing. It is an honor to hold the Torah, and you can tell how you are doing internally with your own psycho-emotional religious perspective by how heavy is the Torah for you. Same Torah, some days will be light as a feather. Some days as heavy as an anchor. Same exact Torah. So we know it weighs the same, so what's different? Okay. You did some not such good things that day, and you're carrying the Torah. It might be heavy. You did some mitzvot the night before. Some tzedakah, whatever. Might be light. That is a truth. I've told you guys the story of my grandmother when she was in her 90s. She wanted the Torah. The Torah came home. A friend of his rabbi, it wasn't from this is the year before. It was at his shul, and she was 90, whatever. And her father had been a rabbi, and so she never was allowed to touch the rabbi, touch the Torah. And so he said, Rose, come up here, and we're going to hold the Torah. And I was terrified she was going to drop it. she was 4'10" with 6 inches of hair, the kind of crap. And so I started going, for her, it was light as a feather. All of these are important things. Now, who can hold a Torah? And why?
At any point in time, or who's even allowed to touch the thing? What do you asking?
Yes, both.
Well, I can.
You can, as long as you're not on your menstrual cycle.
Right.
Must be 13.
No, anybody can hold a Torah. Anybody can actually read from a Torah in theory, although that doesn't happen because part of reading from a Torah, the Aliyah, is also about being a man or a woman, an adult, and giving interpretation to our Torah, interpreting the words. Can a Christian hold it?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
No. Torah is considered what's called Klei Kodesh, means holy vessels. And there are a few of them, film being another one, that you need to be a Jew. In most communities, an adult, but certainly a Jew. Okay, in order to hold the Klei Kodesh. You cannot, if you are menstruating, you cannot hold the Klei Kodesh. Menstruation says you'll burn it because you're so powerful at that time. And as an aside story, I had a friend who led a weekly sweat lodge in Malibu, and a woman went to the lodge, and you can't be menstruating in a sweat lodge, in a Nipi ceremony. And apparently during the ceremony, her menstrual cycle started. And she had to excuse herself. And when they took off the blankets, sweat lodge is made of the willows that are there, and then blankets are put on top. When they took the blankets off, where she had been sitting was scorched. Our tradition is that a woman on her menstrual cycle is it's too much danger. It's too dangerous in terms of alchemy for her to hold Klei Kodesh. You're smirking like you don't buy that's why. No.
You know what? I mean, whatever the tradition is, I would say that people don't ask.
You know what? It's
I mean,
been bastardized.
Yeah, and I mean, now you have bat mitzvahs, right? And I'm telling you, at 13, girls are menstruating. And they plan it a year in advance, and you're not going to go, oh, whoops.
And that's,
you can't have your bat mitzvah.
And you are 100% right. And yet the idea is that if she's menstruating, she can't do it. And one of the reasons that some of these Orthodox communities don't allow a bat mitzvah. My problem with that is there's a specific discussion in the Talmud, the Yerushalmi Talmud, about what a woman can and cannot wear when she's reading the Torah publicly. Now, this is 2,000 years ago. If they're having a discussion about what she can wear and not wear, what were women doing at the time? They were publicly reading Torah. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the discussion. Why have a discussion? They're not so stupid as to think that, okay, we're going to have a discussion why men need, feminine products. That would be stupid. Our sages were smart enough, because I was smart enough. So if they're having a discussion, it's because it was important. Why was it important? Because the idea was a woman cannot wear a loose-fitting dress, because if she does, and there's nothing underneath, and she's hanging over here reading the Torah, not a guy in the room is going to be paying attention to the Torah. They're going to be paying attention to her nip slip or whatever it's called, right? Not you, I know, because you're so holy, but most men. That's that. But that's why there's a discussion. So obviously, women are allowed to do Torah publicly. That's ludicrous that they can't. And you are right. A young woman who's turning 13, and this is probably why when they first started doing bat mitzvah, she wasn't 13.
She was 12.
She was 12. And I don't know I don't have daughters, thank God, because if these guys have me wrapped around their fingers, I can't imagine what girls would do. I don't know that 12-year-old girls, most of them, I don't think have had their period yet, right?
It's starting earlier and earlier. So
Yeah, I think back in those days, it was probably more 15 and 16. It's
Yeah. So I think when they started doing bat mitzvahs, in the 70s.
Now you'll find a lot of girls that are menstruating.
Yeah, that seems early though. Is that just because of diet or because of
Yes, hormones.
hormones?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
The hormones that they give the cows,
Yeah,
it's using
cow,
beef, I think
chicken.
specifically. Oh, and the chickens too.
So, but that's why I think they said that it was 12, not 13. I think that would have been the reason. I was not there in the 70s when they were deciding in the reform movement to do bat mitzvahs. So, but I would think that would be why they made it a year earlier. Would have been for that reason. We do what we do, and different communities do different things. But there's no reason a woman cannot read Torah publicly. Is the point? It's ludicrous to say that she can't because there's that discussion.
In some of the Orthodox communities, they'll let a woman read Torah in a group of women only.
That in most communities they'll let that happen. I do not know. We'll find out this summer. God willing. I don't know what they do at the wall on the woman's side. Have either of you been to it? You haven't been
I
in a long
have been.
time. But a long.
But it was 2017.
Do you remember what they did on the women's side?
No, I wasn't thinking about it.
Do you remember at all?
I was 15.
I don't think Allison paid attention. She was too busy praying to think about it. So I don't know. But it'd be interesting to find out, which we'll try and find out because I don't know the answer. I'm okay not knowing. I've never been to the women's side, so I can't make a comment about.
And I-
Not likely to be. You have to get a spy. You'd have to shave for one thing.
Well,
Be a dead ringer.
yeah, I don't think they're buying that he identifies as a. Someone was telling me today about at a temple, a man with kids decided that he was a woman, and the temple gave him the Man of the Year award for his courage. Well, no. The irony of he's the Man of the Year because that's how they're calling it because he's a man who identified as a woman. It's just too bizarre to me. I don't know what they do. So I do know most of the places you go that are sacred sites, there's a split between the men and women. That I do know. I do know, God willing, when we're there, you and I will go into the mikvah at Hebron. Two of you. I don't know if there's a women's mikvah or not. I have no idea.
Probably not.
We're not going. You just said,
At the wall.
at Hebron.
I don't know if my daughter went there or not.
There's a mikvah there. That's called the Schwartzy mikvah. It's an ancient mikvah that was rebuilt after Schwartzy died by some of his students. It's called the Schwartzy mikvah in Hebron. So these are all part and parcel of the Torah. Now, when you carry the Torah, you're to carry her on your right shoulder, coming down like this, like a baby. That's how you hold her. And it is extremely beautiful and it's extremely powerful. When you read from the Torah during the week, here's what's really, again, we talked last week about meta history. I think, didn't we? Or was that something else that I don't remember? About meta historical, that our holidays are both historical and they take place, their values today. Oh, we talked about on Saturday, Shabbat. They're both based on history and on how it affects today. So the slavery of Egypt and the Exodus is about both commemorating the ancient Exodus and it's about what are we slaves to today to get free. Okay? That is a truth. When you read the Torah, if you really think about it, and I try and get bar and bat mitzvah kids to remember this, although I don't think any of them do, at the time at least. You are reading the same passage that is being read at that moment all around the world in the exact same way.
It's really powerful.
It's pretty powerful of today. And in the same way that it has been read for thousands of years. Also pretty darn powerful. And so it combines all of that in one moment. Now, in Ashkenazi, there is the tradition of trope, which is the melody. Da, 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 right? There you go. Exactly. And each of these scroll marks,
Means something.
the most ancient music notation system actually in the world, the second being Gregorian chants. But this is older than Gregorian's. And it's little markings above or below that tell you whether whether it goes da 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 da, what it means. And then you have a different trope for each of the scrolls and for the holidays. So on Shabbat, right? Amen. In Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, Amen. Okay. Each of the scrolls of the Megillot have their own melody. Why? It is our tradition, and it is true, that if you allow yourselves, you will see, if we allow ourselves, we see the letters of the Torah lift off the Torah page and dance in front of us. And it is awesome and awe-inspiring. And they dance differently depending on the time of year and depending on the holiday. And the trope is the melody that they dance to. Does that make sense? It's a different feel. I had to learn all the tropes at one point. I don't remember the trope of Megillas Esther as opposed to Shir Shirim. I honestly don't remember them. I have a notebook with all of my Mirchat Tzipcha, all of my cantorial stuff, but I don't chant Torah because I actually believe in the tradition that you should translate every few words because we're not an Israeli congregation. And the traditional Talmud says, some say 3, some say 7, but you should be translating as you go around. So when you listen to me read Torah, when high holidays, David chants in the high holiday trope. I read and translate as I'm going. Okay, it's choice. So in the Ashkenazi world, we have this trope, and the melody is for the dance. The Sephardic world, they do not have the same trope. Have you been to a Sephardic bar mitzvah? I mean, a real traditional one that doesn't do trope?
Don't.
Okay. So many Sephardic temples today do Ashkenazi trope. Okay. But the Sephardi and specifically Mizrahi, what they do is, if you go to a Persian temple, you hear this all the time. The gabbai sitting next to him, okay, standing next to him, and he starts chanting. When the gabbai hits him, he goes ba-da-dum. Okay, he goes a sophist. Right? And he goes ba-da-dum. They don't have a trope. Most of them don't know why. But the reason they don't have a trope is, many of our historical mystics of Judaism were Sephardi. Okay, the Ramchal, Cordovero, they're all Sephardic. And the idea is that they would, rather than saying, okay, we know this is how the letters typically dance, so we've created this trope that goes with it. Their answer was, no, I know I can see their dance well enough, and I know the text well enough that I can be the musician for their dance. So there's a man named, I don't want to embarrass him, doesn't matter. There's a rabbi, Israeli Persian. And so when his chanting is never the exact same because he's literally chanting as he's seeing the letters go. Da 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 da. He knows music and he knows it all well enough that he does. It's beautiful.
Okay. If it's Ashkenazi, I've been to Chabad and they don't use trope, really. They just read it. And because they also aren't on the triennial thing, they read the whole Megillah. No, they read the whole thing. And so it's like they're speed reading it.
And your question is?
Is that true that they don't use, or why don't they have trope? Or do they have trope? And
Chabad has many minhagim, many customs of their own.
Right. Yes.
Many of which have nothing to do with Judaism.
Okay.
Okay, or Jewish law.
Right.
Many of which they've just made up.
or they've taken from the Catholic Church, right?
Thank you. And they don't even necessarily know that. And there aren't a lot of guys left who actually have the knowledge. My phone agrees. And bing. And it's not many Chabad rabbis know how to daven and read very quickly.
Mhm.
There's a great statement. A student came down from the mountains. He said, Rabbi, I've gone through every page of the Torah, or the Talmud, excuse me. Then I said, that's fabulous. How many pages went through you? I am less concerned with how many pages we go through as opposed to how many pages or words go through us.
Mhm.
Okay?
I agree.
That's, which is how Judaism traditionally is. So now, if everyone understands the Hebrew, you might be davening, but you still, if you're going that quick, what are you doing?
Speed reading.
Yeah.
Evelyn Wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's right. They, you know, is that respect her? What's your opinion? Do you think that kind of Torah reading respects her?
No,
Okay.
no. You know what? I mean, honestly, while we were talking, I was sitting here thinking, and I had a rabbi tell me one time that when they were davening, at one point they were so into the prayer, and it was the Amida.
Rabbi
They-
Akiva.
No, this was a current rabbi. Only made it through like the first paragraph, or because it had so much meaning that they kept reading it, and then the congregation was done, and it was like time to sit down, whatever.
Rabbi said Rabbi Akiva gets so lost in doing the Amida, he would shuffle. He'd end up covering the entire space of the sanctuary. I once went to someone's high holiday service this many years ago. It's Rabbi Stan Levy. And I think it was Erev Rosh Hashanah, and they did two prayers. They did the Baruch Hu and the Shema. That was their that was the Erev Rosh Hashanah service. I loved it on a certain level. I don't know if I'd love it for Rosh Hashanah, but I loved it. I mean, you were really getting lost in the Shema and seeing what it means and the Baruch Hu, and really, we've made the decision. I've made the decision. People seem to like it. That rather than bringing the Torah out on Saturdays, and just running through it, spending 40 to 45 minutes on Torah and Haftorah, and then, okay, now what? You call people for the Aliyah, and that's all nice and good, but no one has any idea what was actually said. Even if I translate every word, there's not a lot of meaning. And people seem to like the fact that our custom has become to, when it's time for the Torah service, to have pulled out Xeroxes. We'll have parts of it copied that Orlando's copy, and we'll have discussion and teaching on that part of the Torah and really go deeper. Because you can spend years on one word.
Mhm.
So, made me think. There's a great line. There's a movie a number of years ago called The Night. It was with Heath Ledger. It was Knight's Tale. Thank you. And in it, the bard says he spent a year in silence so he could know the value of one word. Do we let the Torah go through us? And the answer is, for most people, no. Most Jews don't. I was with some people earlier today, and they're talking about a bat mitzvah in another synagogue, and I have another synagogue. One of my pieces, one of my takes on it is, I know that for that rabbi, it's not about letting the Torah go through himself. It's about, let me get through this, through this, through this. I need to get this point, at this point, this point, this point, so I can get paid. Whatever it may be. Okay. And it's not about how do we explore and let the Torah open ourselves up to God, which is what it's supposed to be. It's really what it's supposed to be. So I think it's important to recognize that when you're describing Torah reading like that, especially in an American congregation, how much meaning does that have? Now, if you're in Israel and they're quickly going through things, but they already have been studying the portion all week as a community, and now they're reading it. And remember, they've been reading it on, it's not the whole thing, by the way. They typically read a third Monday, a third Thursday, a third Saturday.
Oh,
Okay, they're not reading the whole thing, typically.
I don't know. When I was at Chabad, they read the whole damn.
Are you sure they read the whole portion or they
Yes.
just read Saturdays? Because typically they read Monday, a third of it on Monday, a third of it on Thursday, and then the last third on Saturday. Typically. So you sure they read the whole thing? They didn't, it wasn't just one third of it? One third's a lot.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like when we read it, right? We just our Saturday
triennial.
portion is on the triennial, right?
Right. That's the conservative movements.
Yes.
Here's my problem. So the triennial, you're working with the triennial is that we've taken, so the conservative movement took the Torah portion and said, on year one, we read this third. On year two, we read the second third. On year three, we read part C. On year four, we read part A and it's triennial.
per parsha, not per total.
Yeah, first. Okay. My problem with that is that means, as an example, 2 out of 3 years, when you read the Torah portion about the last 3 plagues, you don't read the Torah portion about the last 3 plagues. It's at the very beginning of the parsha, which means if you're doing triennial, 2 out of 3 years, you're reading parts B and C. You're not reading part A, which is where the plagues are, the last 3 plagues. So why am I? And yes, there's a lot of value in these other things, but that's really a highlight. If people aren't coming really studying it, so I've always had problems with triennial. Plus, it's a confusing calendar. You have to get a calendar that tells you what you're reading in the triennial. Our classic way is a third Monday, a third Thursday, a third Saturday.
Mhm.
That's the classic of what we've done for a very long time. I don't know. I'm not aware of congregations that actually read the entire portion on Saturday. But that would be way too fast of speed reading. That would be intense.
It did take some time, and it was not speed reading. We have friends who go, and we went to their son's bar mitzvah, and dad read the first Aliyah. The whole thing, 3 columns. He was-
3 full columns.
3 full columns. He was sweating at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous.
Politely speaking, yes, but I was not a member there, so I kept my mouth shut.
And you weren't sitting next to me either, so.
So the whole, if you were on it.
That's not customarily what we do, though.
If you're doing it annually, how many aliyot would there be if you did one?
So there's a different number of aliyot depending on the day of the week and the season and the holiday. And that's what a chazan is supposed to know. There's 3 in the afternoon. Then there's 5 on some, I forget which days. There's 6 plus maftir, the extra one on other days. As many as 7 plus maftir. It's like Shabbat and a holiday. Again, this is all stuff I had to learn in rabbinic school that I never bothered.
So if I had 8 aliyot on my bat mitzvah.
8?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did 7 plus maftir.
Asaf 1, Asaf 2, Asaf 3.
Yeah. That's
How many
what you-
grandparents does she have? You never know.
We also can split aliyah any way you want.
Okay.
So there are 3 aliyot in the afternoon, but let's say we're doing an afternoon bar mitzvah. And the family says, isn't there a way we can do 1 aliyah for the grandparents, for all the cousins, and 1 aliyah for the grandparents, and 1 aliyah for the parents, and 1 aliyah for the kids? So we have 4. Okay, if we need to split it up, we split it up. It's to serve the people, so you want to make it loving. You're not adding more words, you're just splitting it differently. Okay. I actually do not know of it's interesting that you say this, there's 3 columns. I don't know of any communities that do that. I mean, I
I'm not
believe
saying
you, I
it's
just
what
don't
they do
know.
all the time, it's just what he read. And he told me it was the full portion, but I didn't double check it.
Well, that's not the full,
No,
If-
he read only the first Aliyah.
right, and they were doing the
He said
full
their
portion.
congregation does the full portion.
It's very possible. Typically, it may be a community where the rabbi said, I don't get anybody on Monday or Thursday, but I get people on Saturday, so we're going to do the whole thing. I mean, that's a possibility too. that we need to read the whole thing. So we're going to, because we don't do triennial, so we're going to read the whole thing on Saturday, no matter what. That all seems kind of ridiculous. See, it's not ridiculous if everyone's fluent in Hebrew. Then it's just kind of silly, because how deep can you go? If everyone's not fluent in Hebrew, it really seems ridiculous to me. I mean, you must have been bored out of your minds.
I was gone by one, so I was in the book.
Hope you brought your glasses. And you realize that's a long time.
The
So
son now has 2 kids, and 3 kids. I've lost track, 3 kids. So it's been a
He,
while.
he lives in Israel too now.
okay, so but typically we do for the communities that do the entire portion of the week, Monday 3rd, Thursday 3rd, Saturday 3rd. The bottom line is to have the Torah go through us. That's really the bottom line. I'm personally opposed to anything that takes the Torah away from being accessible to people. Okay, it should be accessible. Now, I don't agree. There's a Reform rabbi, and I totally disagree with this Reform rabbi, but part of it's because they can't read Hebrew very well. Who will get up and will sing, and God spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai. In the wilderness, God said, Moses, take. So she's kind of, it's female. So she kind of takes the Torah portion, does what we do on a Saturday morning with morning blessings, because people don't know the morning blessings in Hebrew. So we do that with the melody until everyone knows morning blessings in Hebrew. Okay. It's just kind of really weird to me in Torah. It's kind of very, very weird. And it's not being done as a teaching moment. Like I want people to learn the melodies and to work through the Hebrew so they can sing the Hebrew. This is just how this person reads Torah, because they don't know Hebrew. So all of it, though, is to make Torah for the people. It is for the people. It is not an elitist thing. It is why I cannot say often enough, and I say it constantly. If one of you wanted the Torah, if you want to take the Torah home, take it home. You're responsible for it. After anything happens, you're buying a new one. Take it home. It's your Torah. It's not my Torah. It's not, we say it's the temple's Torah. It means the people of the temple. It's not the ark's Torah. It's not my Torah. It's everybody's Torah. So if someone is going through something and they want a Torah in their home or wherever they are, you borrow it, because that's what it's supposed to be. And unfortunately, I think that's not how most of us were raised, were we?
No.
I think that's sad. It's just as much what it's the rabbis, because the rabbi can read it better. That doesn't seem like that's very Jewish, does it? But that's how most of us were raised.
I don't think I ever thought it was the rabbi's Torah.
Who do you think it was?
It belonged to the synagogue. It lived in the house, the ark, right? And
Could you take it home with you?
absolutely not. But I don't think when I was a little kid I wanted to either. It just seems like it's always like it's very expensive. It's very precious. Don't drop it. Don't, all this. So that you would be, to me, I was afraid of it.
It's a big responsibility.
Yes.
As a kid, that's how you should feel. We don't want you dropping it when you process it through. However, as an adult, you want to have access to it.
I appreciate that.
I mean, it's everybody's Torah, and it is. It's so important that everyone owns it. So everybody in Judaism, the Talmud, and the Gemara, all of us are commanded to write a Torah. Okay, that is a commandment. We are all to write a Torah. A king is supposed to write 2. Yeah. Now that also counts if you paid to write a Torah. In the same way that the moil, who's commanded to do the circumcision? We are. Who does the circumcision? The moil usually, right? And there's this whole little dance that this where you point the moil to be your shalit, your messenger, so that he's going to do your job.
To write the Torah, you can write a letter, you can write the whole thing.
You are to write. We are each supposed to write the whole Torah.
I'm a little short.
But one of the ways we do that is a community says, we will all sponsor a letter. And what they do is they get a scribe who's done everything except the last paragraph or last page. And then everyone said, and then you watch that scribe write that letter.
Write your letter.
Write
It's
your
my
letter.
letter.
Okay. But the idea is that we are all supposed to write a Torah. And where this is taken really seriously is in Sephardic and especially Mizrahi communities. So if you go to Temple Kahal Yosef in Beverly Hills, on Santa Monica and Beverly Glen, have any of you been there? I used to teach Kabbalah there 35 years ago, 30 years ago. First of all, their pulpit, their bima, is in the center of the sanctuary. Spark Shul. And in front is the ark with the Torah. And behind the ark, walk around it, there is a room bigger than this room and it's gated off, it's locked and gated. And you open it up, and I don't know how many dozens of Torahs there are in this room. And they're all in the big silver canisters that Sephardim use, right? These big metal things. Only gets open and pulled out on Simchat Torah. And there it's not Simchat Torah, it's Simchat Torah. Okay. And it is amazing when you're seeing 30 guys holding these big, heavy metal canisters, dancing with them, and you got 30 Torahs in a room. So it's awe-inspiring. But they got a whole room bigger than this. They take it very, very seriously that you're supposed to write your Torah. So a family will say, we're writing a Torah. We're going to write a Torah and give it to the synagogue. Okay. Often temples use a Torah as a fundraising activity, which is probably where you wrote your letters, right? So the idea is that you bought the Torah, except for the last paragraph or page. Everyone pays. What did you guys pay? Am I sharing?
I'd love to. I don't remember because we could buy a parsha, a column, a paragraph, words, a line. I don't know what we bought. We picked
I
up
think
an
a
idea,
letter
whatever it
was like 180 or something.
Yes, people pay it and then they buy a letter and then they have participated in writing a Torah. That's the idea.
And then you spin the wheel.
So then you get a prize. So that's all these customs have grown around it. It is meant to. A Torah is both an airplane and an anchor. It takes us to the highest heights and anchors us so deeply as well in this world. And it's both at the exact same time. The letters do dance. The letters do dance in specific ways, and they do look in specific ways. You can see patterns of the Torah when you look at it, and you really are centered. You can see that it's more than it just seems. It's written in a specific ink that both, it's like your fingernails, it both refracts and reflects light. That's why Torah ink is so interesting to look at. It looks like it's different than any other ink. Have you noticed that? That's why. And it is a tree of life to those who hold fast to her. One of my favorite quotes I say all the time is from the Rambam, from Maimonides. If you see words of hate or anger in the Torah, it is you, it is not her. There are no words like that in the Torah. And I use the example constantly. It's translated as God is angry, but the Hebrew actually says God's nostril flare. And your nostrils flare not just when you're angry, but when you're passionate. And it's about God's passion, not about anger. Because there is no anger in the Torah. Any more than, God forbid, a parent is actually angry at a child when they chastise them. Even when God chastises us, it's not anger. It's sadness. It's passion. So any questions about the Torah? Yes? No?
Gazillions, but I'm good for tonight.
No other ones for tonight? Okay.
So I'm gonna start tonight.
Well, so what do you do when you drop a Torah? When a Torah is dropped, God forbid.
Pick it up.
So that's the first thing to do. That's a good answer. The first thing, pick it up. So if a Torah,
Supposed to fast.
40 days,
Yes.
40 days
Mhm.
fasting.
Oh,
We tell kids that they have to buy a new one.
But is that, I mean, a 40-day fast, or is it like you're just not supposed to eat during daylight hours? as
So
well?
all sorts of interpretations, ranging from the person who did it is to fast for 40 days. Okay. And you can eat at nighttime. It's like a Ramadan fast. I hate to compare it to that, but
Yeah.
you can. What is generally done, God forbid, when a Torah falls, is that everyone who is there rotates the days.
Oh.
Okay.
Another Jewish fiction.
And they rotate it, or they rotate it on, or they do it on Monday and Thursday. Because can't fast on Shabbat. But on Monday and Thursday, which are the Torah reading days, you can fast on your Shabbat. You can't fast on Shabbat. And the Joyce says so. They fast on Mondays and Thursdays for 20 weeks.
Okay, so what about, I mean, I was at a synagogue and it was during the Haggadah, right? And it started like leaning over and everybody like turned around. Like if I don't see it get ripped or dropped, I don't have to fast.
I have no idea where that came from, but probably another legal fiction.
Yeah.
My favorite one, it's a horrible story, but my favorite story like that is there was a congregation, very problematic congregation. They had a lay-led service. There was no rabbi there. And while they were having it, the Torah fell out of the ark.
How does that? Don't answer.
They called me and said, what do we do?
Did you at least tell them to pick it up?
I didn't. I actually didn't. I had not thought about it. But it was after Saturday, so I know they had already picked it up. So, I'm really not sure. So I'm going to call my friend Rabbi Shimon Kraft, who is a rabbi and a scribe. He's a big scribe here in Los Angeles. I'm going to say, Shim, what do they need to do? I said, well, I'll do a 40-day fast. I said, yeah, I got that, but I don't know how to interpret this, that it jumped out of the ark. Now, this is a really problematic congregation, okay? Now, for multiple rabbis in very few years, that's what was a lay-led service. And Shim made a great comment, Rabbi Kraft made a great comment. He goes, they need to understand the Torah is saying, stop talking and listen to me instead, which I thought was such a beautiful interpretation of what was really a problematic issue. So if you listen, she speaks. If you look and watch, she dances. And she holds all of the secrets. She really does. And we just need to listen. I will tell you on a personal level, I grew up believing the Torah was written by men inspired by God. Okay? That's how I grew up. The more that as an adult I studied, the deeper and deeper I studied, I do not believe that anymore. There is no doubt in my mind the Torah was not written by any human. No doubt. There's just too much. So that's why I believe. I don't require or request anyone else have the same belief I do. But I will tell you that is my belief, and I am certain of it. There's just too much that's hidden within the words and the hidden things that are hidden in plain sight. The different phrases, the different problems in grammar, the different language issues, the different calligraphy. I don't believe that is humanly possible. Doesn't mean right, but it's the exact opposite of what I believed as a child, as a young man. So, any other questions on that or on the Magen David? Okay, fabulous. So we'll take it from there. I'm going to put away our Torah. I hope this was fun.
Yeah.
And did we have a lot of people online tonight?
We'll have to.
And
Is it off now?